Yeah, we know how to clean up and clean up really good. Now, a man can marry you thinking you come on board with some money when you don't have, and then they get there and realize they are trapped, they are with you and you're coming with nothing. Or you can be a girl out there with your own money, and then you find this guy who is a good schemer. Yeah, and he's always smelling nice, dressed right, comes to you in this car, and you're thinking, okay, if he has his car and I have mine, and he has his house and I have mine, that is double income, that is double transport, that is double this, because we tend to, thinking about all those other details. And guess what? You get there and it's not the case. Now, if you feel financially trapped in that relationship, this is what I would say you would do. Yeah, start with an honest conversation with your partner or with your husband or with your wife. Be vulnerable. Set up a judgment-free zone. A judgment-free zone where you're like, let us sit. You sit and you'd say truthfully, what do you have? What is it that you are? Is that car fully paid for? Is that home really yours? Or is it something that you're going to be paying for? Because you could find he marries you and then he wants you to be the one to join hands with him and pay off the debt that he acquired. Now, if you're married and you have that understanding, guys, also us ladies, let us not be rigid. You contribute. If you have money, contribute towards this man and help him get him out of debt. Because it's now not his debt, it is your debt. You're living in the same house. And if he fails to pay, guess what happens? You will both be thrown out. And the pressure of homelessness, the weight of not being able to meet the target for the bank on interest will weigh on him, and you'll not have a happy man at the end of the day. So I think sitting down and having an honest conversation, especially if you're newlyweds and you find yourself financially trapped, you didn't do the calculations very well, you misfired on some of the things, you sit down, have an honest conversation, be vulnerable, set up a judgment-free zone where you're not going to judge. Let every one of you open up. This is how much I'm truly worth. This is where I work. This is what I have. Then start off from there. To talk about what's worrying you, and if you need, bring in a neutral third party. If you can, bring in a neutral third party, and maybe like a financial counselor to talk to you. I know of a couple that was having trouble because the man was deep in debt and didn't know how to pay off the wedding debt. And because he didn't know how to pay it off and knew that the girl had property, convinced her, and she sold her her land, and they cleared the debt. Now, much later, the girl wanted, because when you're in a relationship, newly wedded, things happen. You realize what you took home was not, the best toast bread ever. There's some burnt bits on that bread, and you went out. It was a big fight, and the girl was like, now give me back my money from the sale of my land and let me leave you. But all it took is them being honest, because over the wedding, there was a lot of spending, and the girl didn't know where the money was coming from. But that man was acquiring debt to impress her, gave her everything she longed for on the wedding, simply because he wanted to make her happy, but also planning that once I get her, I'll be able to have that financial life that I want, that is strong, only to find out that that is all she had, and she didn't have any other money to her. So, talking about things, you can bring in a neutral third party, because once they introduced me in the picture, I was neutral, and then we talked about the money and how it should be dealt with, and now they are still okay. So we can always feel free to introduce in a third party to help us handle those issues once they come up. Um, and one piece of advice that I would give every couple about money, just one piece of advice that I would give every couple, whether they've been married, but the best way it would work is when you're newly married, because everything is still fresh. But the pride comes in when you've been married for long and now you want to implement new things. Everyone is wondering, so why are we changing up on things? I mean, we've been okay with the way things are. Why are we changing up on them? That is something that happens when we don't start it from the get-go. So that's why I say this one is for the newly really married or those who are planning to get married soon. Schedule a monthly money meeting. If you don't have money put together, schedule a monthly money meeting, just like a date night. But for you, finances, it can change everything. People, when they get married, they have date nights where they're like, this on this day, it's just me and him. We go out, candlelit dinner, dress up nice, makeup, and just go. Yeah, that is good. It spices up a relationship. But also now, you can schedule a monthly money meeting. This can happen at home, in your bedroom. You don't have to go out. Don't you find that cheap? Or if the bedroom will be destructive, you can take an evening walk. But every month, have maybe a monthly money meeting, just like a date night, but different. This time is talking about money because this can change everything for you. It really can. You start talking about what you would want to do in that month. What is it that you have in place that will help you get to that goal? You know, why are we spending this much this month? The more transparent we are in our relationships, the better our relationships will be. But if we hide, I know of a gentleman who was in a relationship with a lady, and they got an idea of saving money, a certain percentage. Say like we each contribute 200,000 a month, and we put it to this account. And now the lady kept on depositing her 200,000 every month, and the man was not coming up with all these excuses. You see, I couldn't meet because of this and the other. My pay was late, and it got to a point where the man went on and withdrew all the money and took it and spent it, and the woman was wondering, where did the money go? So that alone contributed to their split. So you want your relationship to work. Let's try and remove some of these things that can be avoided and help our relationships to turn out better. I hope that was amazing and that was okay to hear. Now we are going to talk about practical money tools for couples. You know, I call them practical money tools. Today we came in on a serious note that would really help our relationships. And if you have one, if you're looking to start one, guys, if you know anyone who is getting married, recommend this and probably it will help them. Because money issues, once addressed earlier on, before the marriage goes further, the marriage will tend to stand. We as ladies, I'm telling the gentlemen that are listening in now, Roger says he's listening. We as ladies that are out there, we have this tendency. Once a man, yeah, is in a relationship with a girl and does not let them in on the money that they have, guess what we do as ladies? I ask for money without mercy. I can tell you we don't have sauce, we don't have food. The kids need this, and I pin you on the wall where you have to milk yourself dry to make sure you give us everything that I asked for, minus considering how much you have. But you involve me in money. Let us have those monthly meetings. We sit and be like, this month, what do we want to do? How can we achieve it? I'm okay with guys going after girls who look really nice, who are fine, like they call it, fine girls. I'm okay with it. But also have someone you can sit down and be real with, someone you don't have to pretend to be around. Because if we are going to pretend around these people, then we'll end up getting tired of pretending. I pretend I have a big account when actually I don't. I pretend to be a certain way when I don't. Eventually, you get tired of keeping up with appearances and you want someone who is real. So when you're looking, look to find someone who you can be real with. Someone who you don't feel ashamed to tell, you know what? A month I earn 100,000. And this person won't judge. That's why I said we create that judgment-free zone where we can talk about money openly without judging. I come clean and say, you know what? I have this much. There's a friend of mine who I told that she was complaining about the man discussing money with purely the mother and not her. Always she felt, pushed on the side. And yet they had kids, 4 kids. Actually, they have, I think, 5 kids. Yeah, they have 5 kids. But this has gone on for so long. They've been married, I think, about 15 years. And in those 15 years, they've had 5 beautiful kids. Now, her problem was the man always talks money with the mom and not her. And when I told her, why don't you sit down and put money to be clean about the money she said, you don't know how much she earns. I mean, if you knew, you would understand that there is no way he could discuss money with me and put it together with me. And I'm like, there is no money too big. Because if I'm sleeping in the same bed with you, I'm trusting you with my life, my health. Why not my money? Guys, there are secrets to relationships that stand. I know marriages and relationships face a lot, but there's something that we can do about that could help them at least have a fighting chance. Like money that can be dealt with. But every time we're secretive about money, guess what happens? That is why you see many men are now tied in sports betting and they need to fund those habits. But if you have somewhere where you're going to be accountable for the money that you spend, guess what? You will not even have money to spend on sports betting. You would spend, but only pocket change. Put in 1,000, maybe 2,000, but not more, because the money is accounted for somewhere. But if we don't live like open books, then we spend poorly and our marriages become this ground where we are suffering and we are complaining and murmuring and end up giving up because we didn't give our relationships a fighting chance. Now, let's get very practical. If you are married or even planning to marry, I want to read comments. There's someone here who just wrote, Roger says, is it advisable a woman to buy things like TV, sofa sets, fridge, etc.? Rogers, you're not clear. Why would a woman buy? Is it buying them in a relationship, buying them in a home, or buying them before you marry them and you find them when they have them? Be clear on that one, then I would give an answer. Otherwise, if you're not clear, I don't know whether you're talking about buying those things when you're married or buying them before she gets married in our home. Oh, okay, that's different. Now, in our home, I don't know whether you guys are aware, but we women, even the Bible, I'm sorry if I offend someone referring to the Bible, but this channel is purely Bible based, so I'll refer to the Bible. The Bible says that a wise woman builds her home, but a foolish one breaks it down. Now, when I say they build their home, builds her home, but a foolish one breaks it down, that means even the Bible refers to a woman feeding her house with the fine things. We are good at planning. We are good at budgeting, but some men have not yet found that. And the men that do, their relationships are different. I've heard people say that man, omukazi yamutegerera, or in other words, that man has no brains. It's the woman that makes decisions, and they will take it as a bad thing. But if you're two people that are married, two people that are in a relationship together, it is not foolish for your woman to take the driver's pants and do the buying of things and fill your house with good things. it is not bad. Rogers, I would say it is nice for your woman to buy the fridge. But again, this is how I look at relationships. You can take it or drop it. In a relationship, like the one we talked about earlier, we are talking about being partners. Because there is no reason why you get someone who is so beneath you that you can't even sit to discuss things. Yeah. You need to get someone who is up to your level that you can really sit and be like, uh, oh, good evening, Lydian. Good for you to be on board. The topic of discussion while you are not around, Rogers was asking, where are you? Is marriage, money and marriage, what really changes after the rings go on? So you can give your opinion. Otherwise, I was answering Rogers. Us ladies, we can fill the house with good things, but when you're in a relationship, when you're in a relationship, Rogers, Lillian says hello. When you are in a relationship, it's more of a partnership. Yeah, you can sit and say we want a TV this year. Then you put money together. Then you go out and buy the TV. You want a fridge. Something that is going to stay in your house for long really needs to have both people consent, because you're all going to be looking at that TV, you're all going to be looking at that fridge. Yeah. And because you're all looking at the same, you need to have an opinion about it. If it's a fridge, you go out. Lillian says she's sorry joining. It's okay, my dear. A good thing you joined. Uh, if it's a fridge, if it's a TV, you all had a say in it, and so you got what it is that you wanted. And Dina says in a relationship, I'm totally a man's responsibility. There you have it, guys, in case you've been wondering. Dina says she's totally a man's responsibility. You take care of her. That's her take. Leave it or take it. That is where she stands. But Rogers, yeah, it's okay for a woman to buy, like you said, the TV, sofa sets, fridges, etc. But it would be best, because it's going to be in your home, that both of you contribute towards the buying. So, like, it's going to be the TV that you're buying, and you go out and save time and go out and buy it together. I think that would make more sense, because you're looking at the same picture. You're all going to use the same fridge. If it's still sofa set, you all go out. You have a say in it, the colors that you want. It's called a partnership, and it's a beautiful one. That is what I can say. Otherwise, Lillian, you are welcome on board. And Dina says she's in a relationship. I'm totally a man's responsibility. So there are people who look at it that way, and they think it's supposed to be one-sided. You take care of them like Dina, and that's her take. And now here, like I said, are some of the tools. Lillian says, I'm good, Rogers, and how about you? Otherwise, we're talking about tools to keep our finances strong. A monthly budget would help.